to do a front flip. The girls were saying no. I was in my head saying yes. When I went for the jump, I landed directly on my head.
How old were you, man?
I was 22.
You know what? I'm surprised at that.
If you're undiagnosed and untreated with ADHD, you can live 13 years less. I was like, what? How? I was like, Chelsea, can you feed daddy? She's 1 year old and she's okay. And then she started feeding me and then feeding herself. I chose at that point, I need help. And if it's from my daughter, then that's it. It's about showing an example to my daughter, pushing a bit harder, proving your dad with spinal cord injury can achieve. My name's Jacob and I have a spinal cord injury. It's quite high, incomplete, C3 level. I recently diagnosed with ADHD as well, so continuously like trying to improve myself. My passion and my purpose, so passion's helping people connect, and my purpose is like just having them connect well. So just like that right connection. I've got a daughter and her name's Chelsea. Oh, Jesus, she's 6.
She's 6. Did you almost forget that then?
Oh, well, 2017, so
The stress in your face right there.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll be more stressed answering a question than what we just asked
That
you,
was good, man.
Jacob.
it just goes so fast.
It does. And talking as a father with disability, but also I think ADHD is going to be a really interesting topic as well, because I know you're incredibly passionate about bringing sort of awareness to ADHD as sort of a neurological condition. Let's start though with how you were. I can't even that day in Penrith.
Yeah. It was after work. I was doing landscape construction and I was feeling a bit run down actually. And my girlfriend at the time invited me to a food market in Penrith, which happens every week, well, every month. And I said, no, I won't rock up. So I had a nap and I wanted to surprise her. Got a box of Krispy Kreme donuts and rocked up there.
Cute.
And yeah, it was pretty, I was trying to be cute. You know how it is. And it was also the first time I met with her, her girlfriends. So I really wanted to put on a show. Handed over the Krispy Kreme donuts and I said, by the way, I want to do a front flip. This is something I want to do. I seen a jumping castle and I was like, that's my inspiration. I'm going to go on there and do a front flip. But I was refused to go in there. The guy's like, sorry, man, you're way too big. This is for kids. Went back to the girls and said, I'm going to do it here. Did some practice lunges and warm-ups. The girls were saying no. I was in my head saying yes. When I went for the jump, I landed directly on my head. And at the time, my hair, I bleached like ice, like M&M, they say.
Right.
And I hit my head so hard that it turned green from the grass. And it stayed like that for 2 weeks, even though I was washing it. Instantly, spinal cord injury.
Jeez, that's a new one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I just need to just bring they're a sex or the opposite sex or the same sex.
Yeah.
It is just the fact, you're not at an age where you can pick them up with your pee plates and take them down to the beach or anything like that. So what do? It's Krispy Kreme donuts and front flips. Let that be a warning. It's not impressive before the spinal cord injury.
How old were you, man?
I was 20.
You were 14.
I thought you were teens.
No, it's been pretty recent. Like, I know it's only been there about 4 years, and look, we have amazing healthcare in Australia, and I think if this happened 20 years ago, life would have been different. Could have been in. Well, so I came across a stat recently. It's like, if you're undiagnosed and untreated with ADHD, like you can live 13 years less. I was like, what? How? And I read in
was sort of part of the process of you thinking at the age of 22 a front flip's going to really impress everybody here because the process was a little bit different for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like parents come across and say, "Oh, can you tell my kid not to do a front flip?" I'm like, "I won't, but do it safely." Like that's really simple.
Okay.
What was your front flip resume pre this front flip? Were you
Great question, actually.
Were you a serial front flipper, or was this one of the first front flips that you've just tried to bang out? In saying that, I recently got back from Europe and I was doing some front flips off the boat. Did you see that?
I did.
I think Jacob saw that. That was a pretty good front flip, but mine was in 20 meters of water, so I probably had a bit of a better fall. What was your front flip resume?
It's a good question. I'm actually putting my CV together for front flip jobs. No, I was doing indoor trampolining. So a bit different to what like landscape tradies are doing on a Friday night, going to the pub, whatever. I thought indoor trampolining was my thing with my girlfriend at the time. And yeah, I was getting pretty good at doing indoor front flips. And it was the first time I ever did on the grass.
So you flipped and you just went straight on your head, or you did a full spin and then landed on your head, if that makes sense. So you got halfway or 1.5 way through?
Just honestly, I would say even halfway, yeah.
Just straight on the head.
Yeah.
What was the aftermath? So did you knock yourself out? Did you know what was going on?
I couldn't move anything instantly, and I knew straight away what happened. I had a spinal cord injury, and it was like time slowed down. And I said to myself internally, like, this is going to be really hard and I'm going to get through it. And that's something that I accepted at the beginning. I think that was through practicing mindfulness beforehand that helped guide me.
You've done the flip. You've recognized instantly that you've got a spinal cord injury. So what is your relation or history around physiology, and how did you know, like, how did you instantly know that, and what was your relationship previously to the disability community?
That is such a good question. Well, prior to my injury, I was doing like 3 hours of gym every single day besides Wednesday. Like I was getting really into like natural bodybuilding, and that mind muscle connection. That's something that I really like honed in on. Like just any body part that I have, like I was really trying to strengthen that. So I was becoming really aware of my body, and I knew more about me than like what doctors were saying. That I know my body the best, just in general. So as soon as I broke my neck, I knew instantly what happened, but I didn't know how to fix it.
What was the reaction from your girlfriend and your mates and everybody that was there?
Actually, yeah. So my girlfriend at the time, she wasn't looking, but her girls.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad you stopped that.
Sorry. You were trying to impress her with a front flip that left you in a wheelchair, and she wasn't even looking.
Yeah, she wasn't looking.
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Too busy
All this for wasn't even looking.
Yeah,
she was eating Krispy Kremes. Oh, Jacob, I love it.
She's looking away, but her girls were seeing it, and yeah, they were like all, and yeah. So when they did turn around, when she looked around, she was actually going to do like stacks on, like just for fun. And she told me that like weeks after when I was in hospital recovering.
Wait, so they did stacks on, or they were going to?
No, that she was going to. She was going to like
that would have been bad.
On.
That would have been bad. That would have been the end of Jacob, baby. Jeez.
Yeah.
What stopped her from doing stacks on? Did everyone realize that there was something serious, or were you like, don't touch me?
I think that was just her intrusive thoughts. Like, oh, eyes on the ground, let's jump. But I think what helped is, her mum was training other police in radio. So she actually knew how to talk to paramedics and call. She came over to me and I said, look, you need a call. I need help. And she didn't start us. She went straight onto the like 000. She gave me some really good feedback from the paramedics because I was in so much pain. I really wanted to move my neck. And she was relaying some really good feedback. And I think that in itself, that really good feedback from her, like, helped reduce injury.
What I always find interesting is people who acquire their disability, there's no book out there. It's like how to live with disability for dummies.
It's a good podcast though.
Would be, yeah. But
It's called Listen Able.
What resources do you turn to, Jacob?
That's like besides Listen Able, I go onto Instagram and this was when I was in hospital. I was scrolling to find people with wheelchairs exercising, and unfortunately, like a lot of it was like that inspiration porn. So I really didn't want to have like me exercising in the gym, like just be inspiration to other people. And I'm so fortunate, like we've moved a little bit away from that, having more representation for the Paralympics and things like that. Now it's just like an easy conversation with my peers. So like Spinal Cord Injuries Australia, they got a really good peer support group, and you can just ask questions. Facebook groups, the Spinal Support New South Wales, I think they're called. Really great feedback. So it doesn't matter if you're like a doctor or a dentist, or you're an entrepreneur, or you've just in the farm and had a spinal cord injury. Anyone can ask questions there, and it's really good feedback.
What were your first 3 questions, Jacob, that immediately came to your head?
It's just about like the bladder and bowel function, and just like how do we regain that? About pain as well, pain management, and just am I good enough to be a parent with spinal cord injury?
Well, we'll touch on that now because you brought it up. What was that like for your mindset, going from an able-bodied dad to a dad who is now in a wheelchair?
It was really hard. Like, I think I got on top of everything quite well, but when it came to being a parent, I was just trying to like do so much, and I was burning out. And it's like, it was really fatiguing, and I was like stressing about like, am I missing like the golden years of my daughter's life? And I guess it's just putting her on my lap and like just pushing, just going with it. And there's no better way to do it than just asking other parents with spinal cord injuries or disabilities like what they're doing. I know now, like, I'm a fantastic dad. If anything, I'm better dad because I'm more present and I spend my time like wisely with her.
What was her reaction? Does she remember you walking around?
Yeah, well, I don't know if she remembers me walking around, but when she came into hospital, she got really clingy. Like, she was very young, like 1 year old, and she wouldn't want to come off my lap. She'd just put like the dummies in her mouth, and yeah, she just didn't want to be taken home. But I remember like this one point, this is when I accepted like this parenting role with spinal cord injury. We're in Royal North Shore Hospital, and I was down on the cafe with her and got some pasta. And I didn't really think this through because I couldn't move my arms well. And I said to Chelsea, like, she was just sitting next to me. I was like, Chelsea, like, can you feed daddy? Like, she's 1 year old, and she's like, okay. And then she started feeding me and then feeding herself. I'm like, I chose at that point, like, I need help. And if it's for my daughter, then that's it. I'm going to get better over time.
Good on you, mate. Love that.
As a father myself, your priorities change as soon as your kids are born. You just recognize that your life, which was everything for so long, and you just thought you were the most important thing to yourself. I mean, it changes when you have a partner a little bit, but a kid just throws everything out. You're just like, who cares about me? Let's just make sure my kids are okay. Do you think that that actually helped as a bit of a coping mechanism in those early days? Because, you know, if you are a single person at the age of 22 who's recently acquired a spinal cord injury, it's a bit of woe is me, but the reality is your daughter still needs to be fed, clothed, changed, and it's finding out, you know, how you as a now disabled father going to be doing that. Do you think it might have, obviously it's changed your relationship a little bit with her from a physical aspect, but do you think it helped with coping a little bit? Because, you know, I know that I am second and soon to be third priority in my life, and probably Emily, I should say, is ahead. Or maybe I'm fourth. But do you know what I mean?
Am I fifth?
You're fifth.
Thanks.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, she's just my absolute rock, and it helps me get out of bed. And I really like when things get tough and I realize like how far I've come, but it's not about me. It's about like showing an example to like my daughter, you know, working as well, like going into employment when anyone could just stay home in Australia with privilege. If you can get the private rental subsidy and all these, but like not just like accepting that, but pushing a bit harder and proving like your dad with spinal cord injury can achieve. So what's stopping you? That's why the message I'm trying to put on.
What drove you to get into work straight away, especially around tech and disability where you are?
I think it's just that the fact I can't just sit still. I've got to keep doing things. And I spent like 9 months in hospital trying to figure out what this world is all about because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even escape hospital. And I learned a little bit about what it means to be on this earth. And it's like just the gift of giving, like teaching a skill to the next people. It's about entertainment. It's about just getting the community to sort of compete, like with sports as well. So like one community competing against another community. It's about good food and all these things that like I learned about I wanted to do that myself and to prove if what I learned is right or wrong. And so far, it's been right.
How do you reckon tech plays a role in that? Because you're big on the tech space. I'll just give it, and I've been doing some work with TikTok.
Ooh.
Yeah. And one thing about TikTok is like it is, and Instagram, but it has really empowered disabled creators to tell their story, right? I've never seen more people with disability ever than these new social media platforms. That's just one example. How's tech kind of opening the doors for not only people with disability to get out and live their lives, but also to amplify what they're doing and saying so more people can be touched by it?
Tech is huge, and I don't think people realize it. Like, and I'll tell you an example to make it more obvious. So Apple, they design for tech. They design for people with disabilities always at the beginning. And let's just say if you're using an iPhone on the bus, the shaky bus, you can use it with one hand. It's fantastic for someone with Parkinson's, or even if you have an amputation, right? So everyone benefits when you design for people with disability. But what we need to do is enable that across all organizations, right? I live in an SDA, so it's like purpose built for people with high physical support needs. And some of my neighbors have cerebral palsy, right? And they have speech impediments. And I take my time. So much in those words. What we have the ability to do is use text to voice, right? But that also means that we can give people that have no voice words, and they can express love, hate, pain, just like anyone else, right? And I can't wait for the day where I'm on a call and it's through someone that's using assistive tech, and they're helping me so much better because they're here using their words wisely.
People think, you know, the series and the Hey Googles and that is for able-bodied people. That is designed so people with disability, especially blind and low vision, can activate a phone. People don't even know that. Right? That was the reason it was invented.
And text message started
And
as a disability tool for people to
communicate.
Yeah.
But everyone goes, no, as if. I go, you see, everyone wins when accessibility is done from the beginning and properly, right? And it blows our minds. They're like, oh, I thought I could talk when I was driving. I was like, no, it's not. But you win when it's done that way. And it's a really good advice to give to people who work in construction and design and architects and that. Like accessibility when done from the start looks cool, but we all benefit from it at some point in our lives. It's important to get it. Love that, Jacob. That's good gear.
Cool.
Stop stealing my lines, bro. I'm going to be out of a job.
Jacob, for you, I know that you're in sort of architecture and design spaces. Can you please, you know, I recently was lucky enough to actually sit next to this guy's brother, and
who's much smarter than me. His name's Zach.
Yeah, Zach Alcott. And he spoke incredibly eloquently about universal design. And I learned so much sitting next to him. For you, who's working in, you know, with SDA approved houses,
that phrase is polarizing because how do we do it? And like without real accurate representation, it's just made up as assumptions. So to do it correctly, you have to co-design with people with lived experience, deaf, hard of hearing, vision impaired, blind, neurodivergent, also First Nations too. Like with this universal design, it's different to each culture, right? But with the advancements of artificial intelligence, machine learning, there is a way to actually get some feedback and put it into what essentially is ChatGPT to provide some really good insights. They're not one person speaking, but it's a whole bunch of individual thoughts. But to be able to do that correctly, we need to then record it correctly. So OTs and physios and people that have gone through knowing how to report, write reports, passing it on to someone who works in engineering. So AI engineering, making a model where it can actually inspire like people doing product design. So when I say Apple's designing for disability front and center, what if they could learn straight away what's the best practice? Be inspired. What if architects could design their new building with wheelchair mind straight front center. Also retrofitting too. And I guess that's what I've been really leaning into. I've been working in landscape construction for 6 years prior to my injury. I didn't know much about disability before. I just knew that when I designed flat surfaces and ramps with no lips, that the aged community could just get their groceries out from their car and put it into their house themselves, and they can also take their washing out and put it on their lines themselves. And I was like, wow, this is really good. But it's also really good for my wheelbarrow. I don't have to go upstairs. That was my insight. And now using a power wheelchair, manual wheelchair, like I understand what it's like to like find those barriers, and I'm just trying to help like bring them down.
Yeah, and it's the same with like, mainstream representation in advertising and on the screens. The reason you should market as a supermarket, as a ride sharing, as an airline to everybody is because we are 20% of the population and we are consumers too, right? So not only are you socially being responsible by being inclusive, it's good business as well to have universal. Do you agree with that, Jacob?
Absolutely. Like, and what I also say is, how do we know like if places are accessible for my ability and for someone else's ability? And it's okay if like that cafe or that pub is upstairs, but how do we know if it is? And that's why universal accessibility and design is important, because now we can actually give ratings for different usability groups. So it just in Canada, they built a lot of houses on stilts because that was a nice fashion, right? Living upstairs and sleep downstairs. And then the community started aging. And then now like these staircases aren't so accessible to the aging population. So then they had to knock down. And that's because someone somewhere thought that was a good idea, but no consultation, no co-design. What is that? What is the risk? And how much does retrofitting cost?
Thank you very much for your time today, Jacob. We do finish our podcast episodes off with asking a bowl of uncomfortable question. It's the question that has been sent through to us by somebody who is either, seen you, knows you, or maybe has just got a generic question about disability that we've had sort of on a sheet. And this is one of those cases. We had a very last minute change this morning, and Jacob, you were, was very lucky to have you come in and sit in the seat. But this is a question that's been sitting on our list for a little while. What are you most frightened of being a dad with disability?
I guess it's just that other parents might not know anyone that has a disability, and then they might say, oh, we can't go out with my daughter, Chelsea. We can't go out with her because her dad needs accessibility. He needs support workers, we'll just get another parent. So I guess it's just like not being included.
And that's not even you, that's as well. Maybe Chelsea's not getting invited to things because of people's misconceptions around your abilities.
That is right, yeah.
This bowl of uncomfortable comes from Dylan in the studio. That's me. Do you regret the flip?
I don't regret anything. I'm learning from it. I've accepted, and I'm just trying to make the most out of my life because I'm only here for a certain time. I want to make this world a little bit better than when I came into it. No, I don't regret.
Well, you can search Jacob Darkin on LinkedIn. That's where you can get all the business models. But, mate, we wish you all the best in helping change this world for the better. Looking forward to seeing how Chelsea gets raised by a loving and caring dad. And, I'll take a few lessons off you as well.
Smart man. And also, this is an audio medium. Good-looking rooster as well.
I wish I wrote down. I knew Dylan was going to call you a good-looking rooster. I wish I wrote it down.
I don't want to objectify Jacob, but have you got a partner at the moment?
I do, yeah. Really lucky, Amanda.
Hey, shout out to Amanda.
Well, lucky Amanda,
Lucky Jacob, lucky Amanda, both lucky.
The world's lucky, mate.
3 years strong. And, mate, like, it takes one to know one.
Oh, this is what I want. See,
Before we do go, do you mind if I interrupt quickly and just say, how did you go finding, for one, being a single dad, not easy to find, the pool shrinks.
Yeah, especially disabled single dad.
And then all of a sudden, recently acquired, within the past 6 years, a disability dad. How did you meet Amanda? Like that's interesting.
That's a good question. And look, I was actually getting support, and she was a support worker helping me, my daughter, at Lollipops Playland. And we connected whilst Chelsea was playing around and had similar interests. I love her artwork, and we had a conversation about art. And then we both agreed, like, let's go away from like the support work, which was like only two sessions, and we got to know each other as friends. And I think that was so awesome because like I wasn't searching. I was so happy being single.
Mhm.
And I think like the moment you stop searching and being happy in your own like self is the moment like people will come into your life, and it's going to be at the wrong time for you, but you got to realize like you just got to go with it.
Support workers, I love that story. I wish there were support workers around when I was young.
Yeah,
have
you,
some more
you did have a
dates.
support worker, just apparently not.
No,
not
they
the-
were 80.
Yeah.
And like they were like literally 80 years old.
I've seen a
I
photo.
would have done some damage, I reckon.
Mate, this is a bit ableist. This question.
That's what you're here for, mate.
Hopefully it's not.
Just kidding.
How long or when did you realize that she was flirting back? Like, is there like a wall that you have up that, yes, she's a support worker, she's interested in, the field of where we met? When did you go, is this flirting? Am I flirting back? Is this, am I missing the wrong signals and she's just being, generous and supportive because
a
she
good support
understands?
worker?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been a support worker.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I friends, and then I guess like I was comfortable telling my stories and things like that, and she just like was accepting of that, and I think like she had every reason to not be with me. Like her parents were pushing away from our relationship. Like she was going back home, and parents were saying like,
Because you're
like
disabled.
everything, it's because I'm white, it's because like I've quadriplegic because I'm a parent, and like like her parents are very much like follow like the career of medical and things like that, and there's definitely like a racial difference there, so
Mhm.
that's something that I was like admiring her for pushing forward for us to work. So just finding someone that that's not just like for a relationship but like strong in themselves, that's what I'm looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate.
Well, good on Amanda.
Brother, I'll see you at the next festival / sporting event / wherever we run into each other, because we have a few times.
Keen for it, and
Mate.
wearing your shoes, the Nike ones. With
Have you got them on?
I do, mate.
My man. At Ability Fest. Got it. Mate, love that work.
Yeah.
Mate, you're a king, mate. Look forward to having a hug soon. But thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dylan. And
Thanks,
Angus, congratulations to your new one on the way.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Little son due in November, so appreciate that.
Yeah.
Two's like having 7. That's what I've heard. It's all over. All right.
Thank you
Good
so
on you,
much.
mate.
Thank you, mate.